Alright everybody, we have a fun kind of thought exercise style of video. Today we're going to be talking about Nintendo Selects. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with how pretty much every video game console has their version of their best selling titles. And for Nintendo, for the longest time, it was Player's Choice. The Player's Choice that really stick out to me the most are the GameCube's yellow label. The N64 and I believe the Super Nintendo also had Player's Choice, so Nintendo was using the Player's Choice label for about 2 decades before they switched over to Nintendo Selects for at least the Wii U and the 3DS. I can't remember what the Wii and DS used, but this was a way to not only re-release titles at discounted prices, it was a way of celebrating the greatest hits, to quote the PS2. They started off by marking games down to $19.99, but of course as game generations went on, I believe Player's Choice and Nintendo Selects would end up becoming $29.99, and they've had a cutoff ranging, so to be eligible for a greatest hits, you've had to sell anywhere from 250,000 units to 1 million units. Those numbers have kind of changed over time, I think, in a lot of ways, depending on the success of the console. I think for the Super Nintendo, you had to clear 1 million, but I think by the time you got to like the GameCube, it was 250,000, give or take. But again, the moral of the story is it's a way for Nintendo to celebrate their pride and joys, their most successful titles. So, Nintendo Selects do have a lot of Mario franchises, Zelda franchises, so on and so forth. But, guys, the Nintendo Switch is, 8 years into its retail relevancy? And no sign of Nintendo Selects. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, after the latest Direct, I really don't think we're going to get Nintendo Select. So this whole video is probably a moot point. That's why I called it a thought exercise more than like news, because I don't think we're going to get Nintendo Selects. Prior to the Direct, I had a theory that, okay, if people are right and this year is just ports and remakes for the rest of the year, then Nintendo Selects is actually maybe a good idea to kind of like say, okay, we're going to re-release Mario Odyssey at a discount. We're going to re-release Smash Brothers at a discount. So, as we wrap up the Switch's lifespan, you get a way to kind of milk a little more blood from the stone. And on top of that, you can celebrate the Switch's 8-year history by re-releasing some of its greatest hits in the form of Nintendo Selects. But as you guys saw from the Direct, we've got a new Zelda, a new Metroid, we've got Professor Layton, we've got Donkey Kong Country, we've got the Dragon Quest games, we've got Metroid Prime 4, we've got a new Mario Party. I don't think they need to re-release these Switch games. Not only do they not need to because they have so many titles, people are still buying Switch games like crazy without discounts, so there's really no incentive to re-release games at $30 or $40. But, like I said, today's a thought exercise. So what if Nintendo Switch had Nintendo Selects? Just keeping with the same name and culture that they used for the Wii U and the 3DS. The last time we saw the little gold banner, it was Nintendo Selects. So, a lot of consoles have used the 1 million units sold threshold, and I think Nintendo would really have to ask themselves, how big do they want the selection to be for Nintendo Selects? Now, I still think it's just first-party titles, but if you were to just look at Nintendo Switch games that have broke 1 million units, you're talking almost 100 plus, if not more, Switch games that have sold 1 million units. What you guys have to realize is the Switch is the third highest selling console of all time, and when the Gunsmoke settles, they'll probably have sold the most units out of any console ever, meaning they have a higher propensity to have video games that have sold 1 million units. So you could cut this down a little bit You can say, okay, well, we're just doing first party or games published by Nintendo. And you can say the cutoff is 10 million units. 10 million units still gets you 21 games that have sold for 10,000 units. And I believe most, if not all of them, are first party titles, because you had to get to like 28 to hit Minecraft, and I think there's another one in the 20s, but the list would look like this. Mario Kart 8 is the highest selling Nintendo Switch game, followed by Animal Crossing, Super Smash Bros., Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Super Mario Party, Tears of the Kingdom, New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, Ring Fit Adventure, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Legends Arceus, Luigi's Mansion 3, Splatoon 2, Super Mario 3D World, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, Nintendo Switch Sports, Mario Party Superstars, and Splatoon 3 would be your games eligible at the 10 million cutoff. You do lose some games like Kirby. I feel like Kirby should be worthy of Nintendo Selects, but you know, in that universe where you're using the 10,000 cutoff, they actually wouldn't make the cut. Now, I think Nintendo could cut it down from 21 to 15 pretty easily. I think, well, Splatoon 2 and 3 are on here. Splatoon is an esports game, which means you want to go with the more relevant model. So I would say Splatoon 3 would make the cut, and then you wouldn't do a Splatoon 2, just because like everybody's going to be playing Splatoon 3. In that same line of thinking, I think you don't do Sword and Shield, you do Scarlet and Violet. And you can really decide if you want to do Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee and Legends Arceus, or if you just want one Pokemon game. We had Mario Party Superstars and Super Mario Party, so you have two Mario Party games. You can cut that down to one. So you got a couple of options. I mean, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom just came out, so maybe you'd want to do Breath of the Wild, be the only one that gets the Nintendo Select, not Tears of the Kingdom, since it's a little newer. Luigi's Mansion 3, also a really new game. Maybe you don't want to have that be a Nintendo Select. So I started asking myself, and my list is going to be longer than 5, because why wouldn't it be? It's my list, right? But I started asking myself, if I could only have 5 games be a Nintendo Select, what would I pick? And realistically, I'd probably just push it to 10, because I think you need Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the highest selling game. Animal Crossing, that was so iconic during COVID. Breath of the Wild, I mean, maybe the most hyped game on the console. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, because, you know, latest Pokemon, why not, right? Though they probably wouldn't do Pokemon at all now that I think about it. Smash Brothers seems like a given, right? Splatoon 3, Mario Odyssey, and then maybe a Mario Party game. So the reason I picked those games is I think they embody what it means to have a Nintendo Switch. The group of games listed above gives you a good offering of esports with Splatoon 3, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Smash Brothers. It also, in the same breath, gives you casual multiplayer, as you can play all those games pretty casually. You can gather around with the family and play some Mario Kart and play some Smash Brothers. But it also gives you some good adventure games too. You get Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you get Breath of the Wild, you get Super Mario Odyssey. So I think it gives a nice, healthy balance of the most iconic games on the Switch, some competitive multiplayer games, some casual multiplayer games, and some really good single-player games. So I would probably round that out to 10 if I was in charge. But, you know, again, it's all hypothetical. It's all a thought exercise. I don't actually think Nintendo will be doing Nintendo Selects, and it's kind of a shame. But this is where I turn the video over to you guys. Do you think Nintendo will roll out Nintendo Selects, or are we just too late in the game? Like, there's no way they can do it now. And if you were in charge in making the Nintendo Selects, give me 5 games, 10 if you absolutely must, but give me 5 games you think that would absolutely have to be Nintendo Selects. So, thank you guys for watching. We will see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.